So we're going to move on to the second page of our We Draw, You Draw worksheet and work on this object here. It obviously starts off with a rectangle. I'm going to set this at default colors, black stroke, white fill, and draw out that rectangle. Now let me go ahead and change that to no fill, just so we can see what's down below. The next part that we draw together is this zigzag sort of shape. Now, you don't need to match the zigzag that I have on the worksheet exactly, but I'm going to grab the pencil tool and I'm just going to kind of draw a zigzaggy shape. A couple of keys. I went way off the side on the left, the top, the bottom, and then I'm going to go off the side over here on the right when I get to it. Okay? And I'm going to take that stroke that results and I'm going to crank it up quite large. Okay. And I'm going to change the stroke profile. I don't like the same thickness, the 14-point thickness all the way across. So right here where it says uniform, that means I've got a uniform stroke, and I can kind of pull down to these different ones and try them out. So flip through the different ones, but the one I'm going to end on is this one here, where it's like a triangle stretched across the line. So it's kind of fat on one end and gets very, very skinny on the other end. In fact, I'm going to emphasize that even more by going up to, let's say, 24-point stroke. Okay, so now I'm ready to turn this into kind of these separate sort of objects. I want to be able to change the color of this part of the rectangle versus this part versus this part versus this part, and kind of turn this into a piece of negative space between all those different sections. So to do that, first I'm going to go ahead and expand the stroke that I drew here. I'm going to go to Object, Expand Appearance, and it becomes an object as if I had drawn it with the pen tool. However, as the line overlaps on itself, it kind of creates these little problem areas for us. So I'm going to use the Unite button, Pathfinder Unite, to add them together, and it becomes this nice consistent shape as if I had drawn it with the pen tool. Next thing I'll do is go ahead and select both the zigzag object plus the rectangle object, and I'm going to come over here to Pathfinder. And this first button underneath Pathfinder, the second section, is the divide. So it's going to divide this into lots of different little shapes. So you can see that this looks like a different shape, and this looks like a different shape, and this part down here is a different shape. So when I hit the divide button, they do indeed become separate shapes. Now it puts it into a group, as you can see way over here. And I'm going to double click on that group. Instead of ungrouping it, when I double click, I get into isolation mode, and I'm able to work with the group by itself. So I'm going to go back through here, and I'm going to delete the parts that I don't want. The parts going off the edge like that. You know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to go ahead and delete the entire zigzag, and I'm going to be left behind with sort of this alligator jaw sort of looking shape that's left over. I come out of isolation mode. Let me turn off the worksheet on the bottom, and I can see each of these is now a shape that I can affect. So I can grab that one, decide it might be red, no stroke. This one maybe kind of a dark blue, no stroke. And I can kind of build this color scheme, just use eyedropper, using the shapes that are left over. So I get this cool little negative space sort of logo going by drawing this as a path, expanding that path, and then using our Pathfinder and divide to make this into this cool negative space sort of drawing. So now over here on the You Draw section, I can tell you that this is a circle and this is a line. Those are the only paths that are actually drawn. So we use the stroke profile to make that nice and thick. Use your expand, use your Pathfinder divide, and try out two different colors to make a nice, subtle, limited color scheme.